Now, as a species, as a human race, we're looking around the planet and we're all starting to recognise that there's big problems.
Anthony Lowther, a man whose presence speaks before he does. With a physique built from decades of discipline and a plant-powered lifestyle, he's living proof that strength and vitality come from alignment.
You know, and then warning signs are getting louder and louder now. I believe we can do much better than we're currently doing when we're bombing each other for profit. I'm 45-year-old and very healthy.
He's a global retreat facilitator and movement mentor. Anthony fuses strength training with free flow yoga, a rare blend of grounded power and graceful expression. At the heart of his work is one truth: true health is the foundation of global change.
The two most powerful things I've done was stop drinking alcohol more than anything else as I went vegan.
Anthony is here for the revolution, one that begins with the body and ends with the soul.
50% of all crimes are alcohol related.
You don't track macros and micronutrients.
I don't believe in measurements.
Yeah, you have great skin, by the way.
Try to be naked if I can in the sun for not an hour. About 15 minutes.
15 minutes a day.
I'm fully naked and I open my legs and I let the sunlight energy into my all areas.
I love people who love sleep because it's the #1 health hack. And studies show between 40 to 50% have a gene variant of the NTHFR gene, which means that it reduces the absorption in the body of folate.
Most negative energy thing you can put in your body is meat.
What are we on earth for if it's not to live, to make other people better? Because we're here to serve. Hi, Anthony, and welcome to the Be That Life experience. How are you?
Absolutely magnificent. Loving my life in Bali. I'm happy most of the time here. It's like paradise to me.
It definitely is like paradise, isn't it?
Yeah.
And meeting you for the first time was pretty cool because I went to one of your Rise and Shine parties, and I have to say that I haven't had so much fun than I did in that day that I showed up there. The dancing was insane, the music was vibing. So you have been behind the decks for over 2 decades, really connecting people through music. And now you've created this incredible Rise and Shine sober parties in the morning, and you know it's trending now, right? You're seeing it all over the world. And why do you think there's this shift? What's happening in the world today, and why people are more focusing on that kind of lifestyle opposed to, you know, the opposite of that? Because the lifestyle used to be about nightlife and alcohol, and now it's about morning raves and non-alcoholic hangouts. What's creating that shift?
Well, I think now as a species, you know, as a human race, we're looking around the planet and we're all starting to recognise that there's big problems. You know, and then warning signs are getting louder and louder now. You know, we can all see the problems and they're coming to the surface more and more and more. And we're all starting to think, where are them problems coming from? You know, when you start asking questions like that, it's actually quite obvious. And I love the party scene. I've been heavily immersed in the party scene for about 25 years now. I've been running Rise and Shine sober parties for 10 years. But 10 years before that, I was running alcohol parties. And they were loads of fun. I had a lot of fun with the alcohol parties. But the truth of the matter is that alcohol's a poison. And we all know that to be true. So what I did is looked at parties and thought, well, you know, partying's amazing. You know, the socialising, the networking, dressing up smart and looking sexier than usual, meeting new people, meeting your old friends, having a dance with everyone on the dance floor, getting into the music. You know, that's all sacred. But the alcohol in the equation makes it not sacred and makes it toxic. And we're doing that en masse on planet Earth. So I looked at the human race and I looked at what we're doing as a species and realised actually 99.99999% of the parties on planet Earth are related to alcohol and therefore poisonous. What if I created a healthier alternative to that scene? So that's what's going on planet Earth now, is we're recognising where the problems are coming from. And the people who are brave enough and feel like they want to make change in the world, like myself, I was like, well, I see that as a problem. So I'm going to look at it and make the changes myself. You know, and I think we're at a choice point now as a species where them warning signs are getting so loud that the next step could be like dystopia on an extreme level, you know, where we're fully controlled with robots and microchips and face recognition and stuff like that, or even a bit further, maybe it's even extinction. If we're looking at nuclear war on a global level now, you know, and people are starting to go, oh, wait a minute, we're walking down the wrong path. We need to pull back and look at other alternatives now. And I think we're all starting to wake up that we can do much better as a species. We are magnificent. We all love each other. We all want the same thing. We all love our families. We're all one family. We all love the earth. The earth's magnificent. You know, I believe we can do much better than we're currently doing when we're bombing each other for profit.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I'm all for making positive change, and I've committed my whole life to that for 15 years straight now, of trying to create positive change however I can in my life. So that's what I think's going on.
So let's take a step back now. You said you started creating these Rise and Shine parties 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So you were definitely the early adopter. You were the trendsetter. Because like I mean, these rave parties didn't come into fruition really till about like 2 years ago. I started seeing it like way more active, and like this year it became like mega active, and now we're having them in every city in the world almost.
Yeah.
And you started this like way before.
Yeah.
So, you know, you really have seen what those type of parties have done to people, the transition from what those parties have done for people. But because it's everlasting, it seems you've lasted a decade doing them. It seems that it's a craving for them. People want them. People need them. And you're obviously not from Bali. You're from the UK. What made you move to Bali?
So about 5 years ago, I was going through a super tough breakup. My heart was broken. I mean, we went out for a coconut the other night, and this came to the forward come right forward for both of us, and we connected quite deeply on the whole relationship journey, which is a beautiful journey and a testing journey. So I went through a really tough breakup about 5 years ago, and it was dark. It wasn't a nice situation, you know, and my heart was broken. I was just like, I don't know what to do with my life now. I feel lost, and I feel upset, and I feel rejected, and all the negative emotions you can have from a breakup. And I was just like really intensely upset for like every day for like a month. And I just thought, I need to do something here. I don't even know what to do. And I just shut my eyes and thought, God, like, what shall I do now? Please, I just need a little bit of help, a little nudge. I'm lost, I'm stuck, I need your help, God. And I just heard a little voice go to Bali. Honestly, I heard that and I thought, all right, I'm just going to go to Bali then, because that sounds quite exciting actually. You know, and the next day I went to Bali. And it was the first time I ever went to Bali. And let me tell you, as soon as I got off and started adventuring on my moped around Bali, I felt so much lighter. You know, people call Bali Mama Bali. You know, and it's got that sort of energy, like a really caring, loving mother energy. And as soon as my feet hit the ground here, I felt so much lighter straight away. And day by day, honestly, I was buzzing. I was actually happy. I was happy all of a sudden. I'm single. I got rejected. I don't want to be single. I was in Bali. I was like, oh, I'm single. I can do whatever I want. You know what I mean? I was like, freedom. You know, so it really helped me a lot. And once I found Bali, every time I left Bali, I wanted to come straight back to Bali. So I've been largely in Bali now for 4 or 5 years, and I leave for months at a time, but always when I'm somewhere else go, oh, Bali's the place. It's the healthiest, happiest, most beautiful place I've ever found in my adventures around the earth so far. You know, I'm deep into health and wellness, right, deep into it. I've dedicated my life actually to see how healthy I can become as a man. And the place I can access a beautiful, easy, spiritual, day-to-day healthy lifestyle, it's so easy in Bali. So I find myself being here most of the time now.
Another thing we connected on, aside from just relationships, is we also connected on the fact that we both don't drink alcohol. And we both have been sober for over 10 years. So me, 10. And for you, how long now?
15.
15 years. Yeah. And isn't it just the best decision we ever made?
Well, when I reflect constantly and communicating to people, because people come to me a lot, because I'm 45-year-old and very healthy. You know, and people can see that usually in my energy, but when I take my top off straight away, because I'm in very good shape, you know, aesthetically. So people come to me and say, what information can you give me? What advice can you give me? And the two things that have definitely changed my life on a positive level more than anything else I've done as a man, and I've always experimented with tweaks and changes in my life. The two most powerful things I've done was stop drinking alcohol or cut back dramatically, because I cut back dramatically before I stopped. And even that had a super positive impact. Because some people aren't ready to go cold turkey. I say, well, start drinking responsibly, where you drink a glass or two of red wine every month or two, but just drink a little bit, not like every weekend hitting it hard like I used to and most people are. You know, so that had an obvious positive impact, because we all know alcohol to be poisonous. So that had a major positive impact. And the other thing that changed my life more than anything else is I went vegan. You know, which for me is a love-based intention way of eating. Which for me, love is the key. For any way we can love more as a species is the most important thing to be doing right now. And why I chose to go vegan, because I felt it was a more loving thing to do for considering the planet and the animals. So going vegan, which I know is very healthy because I've had experience of meat eating. I used to eat a lot of protein and meat for 30 years and still go to the gym and be muscular. And now for 15 years I've been vegan. And that changed my life and my body and how I felt and how I looked, as well as going sober more than any of the other many choices I've made in my life.
Did you see any negative impacts from going vegan initially?
Yeah.
So what
Well,
were they?
I wouldn't say negative impact, it was just a change.
The change in obviously your body isn't used to that, right? So
Yeah.
it's used to having meat and the vitamins and minerals that you get from meat, your body was craving that. And when you stop that and go vegan, like I did, for example, I did that for 6 months and I can share my experience later, is obviously your body goes through this transition. So what was it like for you?
So first of all, it's getting used to a completely different world. You know, naturally, most of your food was built around the meat and then food gets put on around the meat. So it was learning how to not to think and be that way was the first challenge. The second challenge was my mum. When I told my mum I'm stopping eating meat, she got really upset because she was a worry of my mum. Me and my mum are very, very close, and she thought I was going to die. She literally thought, we might not die if you don't eat meat. And I went, oh shit, might I? You know, she put that worry in my head. I was like, oh, am I doing the right thing here? So it was kind of the adjustment side of things. Another thing was the access, because I went vegan when I was living in Newcastle. So when you say I was one of the early adapters of the sober parties, I was also one of the early adapters of veganism. So my mates called me the OV, you know, which is the original vegan. You know, so I've been vegan for 15 years now, so it was a long time ago. Before in Newcastle, I was one of the only ones.
Right.
So finding places to eat was super challenging. And also because I'd always lifted weights my entire life since I was a young lad. My dad got me training from the age of 16, but even before that, really, but to the gym. That I lost a bit of muscle and a bit of size, which was a bit. As a man, most men want to be big and muscular. You know, it's kind of the way we're designed to be, but also the way society asks us to be as well. And I get that. I love it. I like being a masculine, strong, feeling and looking man. But I lost a bit of size as a vegan for 5 years. And then around about the 5th year, I started eating sprouts. And when I started eating sprouts, I gained more muscle than I was when I was a meat eater. So,
Okay, I will dive into the actual diet a little bit later, because I just really at this point want to understand some of the side effects or the things that your body how did it change. So obviously for a while you were losing the weight. 5 years is a long time, to be losing weight, and then
so I lost weight quickly and then just couldn't put it back on.
Exactly. So, and that's the case for a lot of people who end up moving away from eating meat because they know how to pack on the weight with eating meat, and they don't know how to do it when you're eating a plant-forward diet.
Yeah, I've learned how to do it, yeah.
And you've hacked it. So obviously you've come to a stage where you understand your own human biology, because we're all so different. But other people who are going through this journey today still can't hack it. So this conversation is so important for those who have now focused on a plant-forward diet and want to get to a stage where they want to look like you, feel like you, and also feel like they're getting enough nutrients just from a plant-forward diet, where our society is programmed that it has to be meat. But at the end of the day, as somebody in the health space myself and focused on gut health primarily, I also understand that, it's never a one-size-fits-all, right? And we're so not just biologically different, genetically different. And not a lot of people even understand this, because people, even when we're doing so many different types of workouts, some people work out better with weight training, some people are better working out on different types of movements, some bulk on others don't. And if you're not understanding the concepts of movement, of nutrition, and you follow just somebody online and follow their diet, their lifestyle, and it's not working for you, you start getting frustrated because you think there's something wrong with what you're doing. But I think if we are crystal clear and we give people a better understanding on how to understand the process based on what's working for you genetically, biologically, maybe they can get somewhere better and faster, more efficient way of doing things, right? So taking a step back now, it's so cool that you have been 15 years sober, like myself, over 10. And I definitely have to say that since I stopped drinking alcohol, definitely my moods have been better, my mental clarity has been better. I've never had sleep-related problems, but I've also had fluctuations in mood. You know, I definitely, when I would go through some really bad forms of like challenges in life, I would consume alcohol, and the alcohol would suppress the feelings of pain. But after some time, I become more depressed actually.
Yeah.
And when I stopped drinking, I realized that I was able to manage those emotions so much better without the need for alcohol, because you're not, you know, drunk texting. You're not emotionally just having outbursts because you going through these like feelings when you are on alcohol. And I always feel like, you know, they say that when you're on alcohol, you're your most truest and raw self. But I think the opposite actually, because sure, you say a lot of things that you shouldn't, or you think you should be saying, but actually you end up regretting saying those things in the morning. And then when you don't drink at all, you're more careful what you say, and then you can choose whether that kind of speech or action or behavior should be said and done, and there's no really regret after, because it was not through an intoxication moment, you know? So I think when it comes to alcohol, which is most of the population, they drink. They consume even a glass of wine, and they think, you know what? I'm not a massive drinker. I like to drink socially, and I'll always have a glass of wine. I have friends that do that, you know? You have probably friends that do that too, and it's just part of who our culture is, part of the world, right? But what I think a lot of people don't understand when it comes to alcohol is that genetically, just like coffee, we all metabolize alcohol very differently. So I want to talk about the genetic variance when it comes to how people metabolize alcohol. So there's actually a two-step process when it comes to alcohol metabolism. When people drink alcohol, they obviously, you know, need to break that down into less toxic compounds, because how is our body going to absorb it otherwise, right? And there's two genetic variants when it comes to that, and these two steps. The first is the two key enzymes is the ADH1B, which is alcohol dehydrogenase 1B, which converts alcohol ethanol to acetaldehyde. Okay, now some people have a very fast version and can metabolize it really quickly, which means that they have no hangovers, they're feeling great the next day. And I have friends who consume copious amounts of alcohol and they're never hungover and they're never drunk. It's because they have high amounts of this particular enzyme, okay? The second type is the ALDH2, which is the aldehyde dehydrogenase 2, which if you have a slow or inactive version of this gene, which is pretty much 40% of East Asian people have this gene, they start having the red cheeks.
Yeah, it's funny
the
that,
flushes,
isn't it?
right?
I've seen that,
They have that, the red cheeks, they have rapid heartbeat, they have nausea, they have headaches. And the thing is, when you have a slower metabolizer for this particular variant, you are more prone to inflammation and more prone to developing esophageal cancer, and also a higher chance of having liver damage disease. Now, most people don't even know this. They just consume alcohol without understanding the variance when it comes to that. Now, there are also various different genes when it comes to metabolizing coffee. So I'm a slow metabolizer of coffee. Are you a fast metabolizer of coffee?
I get high really quickly on coffee. Like
Okay.
I can feel it within one mouthful actually, and I feel really high.
Yeah, so since I'm a slow metabolizer, I can't, I don't feel great. While some people who are fast metabolizer of coffee, even though they're drinking coffee late in the day, they can sleep well, operate really good. I just get anxiety. I get the jitters,
Oh, wow.
you know? So there's understanding genetic variance. I think it's really important when people either consume alcohol, eat carbs, drink caffeine, so that they understand why they feel the way they do. Right? Instead of just thinking that it's the norm. Now, these sober parties and these sober gatherings has obviously changed a lot of people's lives. I went to yours and it was packed. Everyone was dancing, everyone was having a great time. I think even people who are just naturally introverted and they come to those parties, they're pushed to want to dance and communicate and be a part of something without the need for alcohol, because the alcohol gives you the confidence, and without that you feel like you don't have it. But what these parties provide and exercise is that it gives you an opportunity to come out of your comfort zone. What experience have you had with people coming to your parties, those that drink alcohol and those that don't drink alcohol?
Like I say, most people still drink alcohol either a lot or a little bit. And there's still, you have the sober curious, and people who still like to drink come to Rise and Shine. You have the full spectrum. But what it does is it shows people firsthand, and they get to experience the energy in the room, that actually, something we've done en masse for a long time all around the world on an extreme level, which is parties and alcohol. You don't have to do it that way. There is more positive, healthier ways to do anything on planet Earth. We've just got to find the key to it. And sometimes the key can be very, very, very obvious, like just removing one drink and putting another drink. And I've seen people leave Rise and Shine crying because they're like, that's just changed my life forever. I know now I don't have to drink again if I don't want to, because I only drink to go out partying, to have the confidence to speak to another girl or know another guy and dance on the dance floor. So when they actually break that conditioning that's inside them, and feel it in an elated, joyful way, it can create a really emotional release. Like I say, I've been doing Rise and Shine for 10 years. I've done probably about 1,000 of them now, actually, and I've seen all sorts of experiences happening. But it can change someone's life forever by showing them there's other ways to do things that always can be more positive and healthy. And if you can come, one of the things I hear people say, oh my God, I was dancing all day. I was dancing for hours and I didn't touch one drop of alcohol. The amount of times I've heard that said to me and kind of said in the background is such a common thing at the party that it shows there's a lock on us on planet Earth where people usually drink with alcohol. And again, that's making a really sacred practice of socializing, networking and dancing. When you've got to poison yourself to do that, it's what I call now a downward spiral experience, where you've had to poison yourself to do something sacred. If you don't poison yourself and have a coconut and do the sacred things like dance, that's then an upward spiral experience. And what we need on planet Earth right now is as many upward spiral, healthier alternatives. That's how we change the world. That's how we create positive change. So I like you say, I say everyone's co-creating their energy to the room, and in the room there's a magnetic frequency. And if someone goes, I'm a bit scared, I'm a bit introverted, and they're going in a room where 90% of the people are dancing and having a good time because they go week in, week out, they magnetically, their energy gets pulled in that direction more than they would usually in their general life. So you see even sometimes the introverts going, I'm just going to have a dance. I feel like dancing because there's the energy in the room that's magnetic by nature. We all give out electromagnetic frequencies from our heart, and in the room, 150 in the room, people dancing in the room creates a bubble, an energetic bubble that any one person in that bubble gets affected by that. That's why I call it an upward spiral experience, because everything in that bubble is then positive. There's nothing negative at all getting contributed to that bubble that every human's co-creating. So naturally, when you go in it, your cells are vibrating on a higher frequency, which is healthier for you. And you leave my party healthier than you came, which is how we can change the world.
Right, and it's such a crazy contrast from what you were doing before.
I was doing the opposite.
Where people were partying, having a great time. However, it was adding toxicity to the body, and now it's the opposite of that.
Definitely.
Where people are coming to your parties, but also leaving healthier.
Definitely. So the more extreme versions of the alcohol parties I used to run in the past, I know many friends and people who I've met who have killed themselves because of just suicidal depression. I stopped doing the alcohol parties because I got suicidal depression myself. I've seen the nicest, sweetest guys fight people and glass people because they were drunk. Alcohol brings out, I don't think it brings out the rawest, truest version. I think it brings out the stupidest, dumbest, rudest version. And I can say the same for my life. When I was drunk, I would turn into an animal. I would turn into a rude, obnoxious...
Yeah, destructive.
Well, for me, I used to chase girls on a ridiculous level, and I used to steal things. And that's not in my nature at all. My mum and dad didn't bring me up that way. But even before I got into this more spiritual realm, I was not like that. When I was drunk, I would turn a bit mad. But I've seen women... I ran parties with alcohol, so not only did I have that experience myself, I've observed hundreds of thousands of people turn into absolute idiots because of alcohol. Right. It lowers the vibration. It brings out the worst version of you.
Definitely.
So it doesn't bring out the rawest and truest. It brings out the stupidest version of you, and that's what I believe, because it lowers your vibration. Because the truth is, it's just a poison. I do think there's a place for drinking responsibly. And checking yourself. But the way we're drinking en masse on planet Earth right now, in my opinion, is completely out of control. Right. And it's lowering the frequency and the potential of the human race and the human spirit on a dramatic level, and locking us into a really low frequency of way of thinking and being. So I see alcohol as being actually a bit of a problem. But I actually don't think we should stop it. I think if you want to do that. What I think we should definitely do, which is what I'm doing, is exploring the other realm of the healthier alternative ways to party and socialise and network and club and pub. You know, I'm saying, well, let's just keep that there. Let's not say, let everyone stop drinking. I don't think that's realistic. But I think, well, keep that there, but let's create the opposite side of that, because we know that alcohol can cause a lot of problems on multiple levels with illness, disease, wrong decisions, hangovers, fighting, stealing. You know, there's a number, a figure that 50% of all crimes are alcohol related.
Yeah.
You know, and 50% of all hospital admissions are alcohol related.
If not more, right?
You know, so that's a big thing, very big thing. So it is got a lot of negative things attached to it, but I also see it's part of our culture. You know, I see some people have it as a release, some people love it. So I don't think get rid of it, but I think we need to look at the opposite side of it and explore that as an individual, as an industry, as a business, as a collective more than we have. Because right now, if I wanted to go out tonight, anywhere on planet Earth, 99.999% of the parties would be alcohol.
Absolutely.
So and I think, well, let's just change that ratio a little bit. Yeah. Let's get 90% and 10% going at least. And I'm fully for creating positive change in the world.
I think that's what's going to be like in the next 10, 20 years, right? It's going to be less about the alcohol and more about the sober gatherings.
So it's already begun.
Yeah, it's starting. It's starting. The trend.
Yeah. I saw it early.
Yeah, you did. You definitely saw it early.
Yeah. For me, it was common sense.
Yeah, it's moving towards a direction like a lot of youngsters now.
Yeah.
And people in Gen Zs are they don't want to drink anymore. They just want to be healthy. Yeah, they don't.
I've seen the bar graphs. It's like our generation drink that much, the generation below us drink that much, and Gen Z drink that much. It's like a 90% down movement.
True.
You know what I mean? So I was like,
because I remember my 20s, it was all about partying. It was all about the drinking, all about the R&B parties and hip hop gatherings and meeting boys and getting drunk, and that was the trend.
Definitely.
You know, and this generation is like, nah, I'd rather go to yoga.
Yeah, it's the same with smoking. Smoking was like kind of really common.
Yeah.
And then with our generation, people are like, why do you smoke? Like, why would you do that? Like, it doesn't make any sense to us, you know? So there's like there's waves of common sense come out where we're like, why did we ever do that as a species? You know, so I do think in the very near future, I think the parties of the future are going to be more healthy versions, you know? Yeah. Because you have all the fun and none of the hangover. In fact, in ways you have more fun.
Yeah.
You know, in ways it is better. You know, and not so it's all positive, it's all good, it's all expansive, it's all energizing, you know, and we're starting to recognize like, well, that just makes sense. You know, that just makes sense to look after your body, and the more you look after and love your body, the better your whole life becomes, all areas of it. And people are like, actually, I want my life to be better. So what ways can I do it? Well, I can cut back on drinking. You know, and when you've got a place to go on the weekend to have a party and have a dance and have a flirt and maybe meet a girl, maybe meet a boy, which we all love. Like that's one of the things we go pubbing and clubbing for. When you've got a version that's really healthy for you, sooner or later someone's going to go, oh, I'll give it a go.
Right.
You know, and my job responsibility is to give them the best party they've ever had in their entire life, which I'm actually really good at doing.
And I felt that when I came over to yours.
Well, the parties that I'm doing now, because I've had 10 years of experience now, you see, and obviously if you're doing something for 10 years, you're going to get better at it.
Yeah.
And not only that, there's a movement towards that as well on planet Earth, so it's a double upward spiral movement from me getting better at it and other people wanting it. So we're co-creating a more magical bubble, a more powerful, energetic bubble that is magnetic and more people are going to come to. You know, so it's going to get better and better and more people are going to come to it. It's almost at a tipping point now where I think like my party, which is on a Saturday, can be the coolest party in the whole of Canggu or Bali because it's sober.
Yeah.
People go, no, I want to go to that one because I don't have to, no one's drinking.
Yeah.
I want to be in that energy.
Right.
I want to be in that energy.
And also, it's a great way to start your morning.
It's another thing.
It's not like you need to stay out because clubbing doesn't really happen till like midnight. People go out till at midnight. In Dubai and many other countries, like midnight is the time where people start going out and everything closes at 3. So it's like complete opposite of what the sober parties do because you wake up early, you go, you start your day, you feel great. And it sets the tone for the rest of your weekend.
Well, it works with your natural rhythms.
Yeah.
Like, so your body is designed to work with the sun.
Yeah.
So when the sun comes up and you wake up, your energy's rising.
Yeah.
When the sun goes down, what you should be doing is just calming down a bit, chilling out and going to bed about 9 or 10 o'clock, really, if you want to be healthy.
Exactly.
I want to be healthy and I've created a healthy party. So even my parties that are in the evening finish at 10 o'clock, so you can go to bed by 10:30, 11.
Yeah.
But the parties in the morning suit the energies of the bodies a lot more.
Yeah.
Because as your energy's rising, you're dancing, and the sun's rising, and the day's rising, and you're rising because you're dancing and you're drinking cacao, and you're getting high, and you're at the peak at 12 o'clock. My party is 12 o'clock. It's a peak, you know, and the peak of the day is 12 o'clock, and your energy's in alignment with the whole cosmos, the sun, the moon, you know, the rhythms of the whole world and the earth. You know, so it works more in alignment. The morning parties when you get high in the morning.
Totally.
And then by the time, because you've danced all day, you're kind of tired by 6 or 7 o'clock, and you go to bed and you have a good night's sleep because you're tired. You know, so the morning parties are actually a healthier version of how we should be partying.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
so we shouldn't be going out partying at 9 and 10 o'clock at night. Again, you know, when I've looked into all this stuff, I do believe there's a group of very powerful people that are poisoning us and with intention. You know, the systems that are in place here, I think they've been done on purpose to keep us in a lower frequency so we're easier to control. So I think one of the many things they've done is create pubbing and clubbing that opens at 10 o'clock at night to get us going out when we should be in bed. So we're feeling tired. You know, and I feel like it's one of the many things that they've done with intention is create industries around it to poison us and lower our frequencies.
You know what the crazy thing, though, about life is that...
Many crazy things about life, right?
When it comes to this topic about humans and, you know, free thinking and freedom and us having this opportunity to, like, co-create, collaborate, think that we can get outside of the matrix, is that those that are trying to control us and keep us in this system, eventually it will come full circle. People will want to break out of the norm. There are people who have obviously in the last 20 years have been different. They just never thought that they had the right to talk about it. And then eventually one person started doing it, and then it becomes a ripple effect, and then everyone starts doing it. Everybody starts realizing, hey, I've been silenced for too long, I've been feeling this way for too long. I heard somebody talk about it. Maybe I can stand up and have the courage to speak about it too. And then it becomes now a movement of everyone be like, I don't want to be part of the system anymore. I've never liked it. I never enjoyed being a part of the matrix. I want to come outside of the mold because I knew growing up I was different. And so that's kind of like the beauty and the paradox of life, right? They put us into a box, pretend like we have freedom, but the real freedom is coming outside of that box. Because we realize like we're actually not meant to be into anything, into any box or controlled or thought to think a certain way or be a certain way, when we're all just uniquely different, and that's okay, you know? You just turned 45, and what a great milestone year to be alive. I think that's beautiful. 5 more years until you're 50, but I think you're going to look like even better in your 50s. And I love it. I love it when I meet people, men and women, who age like fine wine, you know, and you can see how they are energetically and also how they look physically has a lot to do with what's going on internally. And I speak about the gut microbiome and, you know, our biological age and our chronological age so much because no matter what kind of habits that you have in life that you can possibly hide, you can't hide it from how you look, right? Because your physique and your looks will always be the telltale of what's going on inside. Maybe in your 20s you can hide it, but as you get older, you can't hide it anymore. It comes over time, right? So obviously, you know, people come to you and they're just amazed that you have such incredible physique. I mean, first time I met you, I thought like you look amazing for your age. And I say that because, you know, I'm also in the 40s space, age bracket group myself. And I mean, I appreciate and look at it in a very different way because I understand what it takes to look, feel, and thrive at that age group, right? And so, I mean, people are always coming up to you and they're super curious. Now, food is an emotional aspect as it is biological, right? And we have these terms and labels about being vegan and carnivore and omnivore. And I just think these terms are thrown around so much and so loosely that people forget that they don't even know what identity they have anymore when it comes to the way they eat. It's either, you know, am I plant-based? Am I both? Do I eat meat? Do I not eat meat? Like, they forget, like, culturally, they probably raised plant-based, and then society is programming us to think that, that's the wrong way of eating. So then they try to eat a different way. Maybe that's not working for them, or they've been meat eaters their entire life and they're feeling like not so good anymore when they reach mid-30s, where they're always bloated and inflamed. And then, they tried the plant diet and it's not working for them either, because they're losing muscle mass and they want to understand how to get back to what they used to look like, but also feel great internally, right? So I myself am very curious, because I tried to be plant forward like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and it didn't work for me. I did it for 6 months straight. I watched a documentary. I got influenced by that documentary, and I was just like, I'm coming to Bali. I did a trip with my friends to Bali, and I said to them, like, I'm going to try to be vegan, because, obviously that documentary like scared me about so many different things, made me question everything about animals and the way they treat animals and so on. And so I tried it, but maybe I didn't do it right, because I started losing a lot of hair. I started, losing a lot of energy. I maybe felt great the first few months, but I wasn't feeling great after. And maybe I didn't try it long enough as well. I wasn't, probably focused on the right kind of diet and so on. And I gave up on it. And I went back to eating meat and having eggs and going through the motions of what people do when they're trying to test out different types of diets, right? Now, I would love to know, what are your daily rituals, day in, day out, on how you look so incredible for your age. You've obviously been plant forward for 15 years. For the first 5 years, you were trying to hack it. And for the next 10 years, you've hacked it, right? And for me as a woman, is obviously biologically different than how it is for a man. So you can explain to me how it works for you. And then I would love for you to maybe explain how it could work for someone of the opposite sex as well. And also, is spirituality involved in that? What are the aspects? Because I really wanted to understand, what has been the biggest return for you when it comes to staying youthful and strong.
So for me personally, it is a highly spiritual reason why I decided to go vegan. I promised myself and I promised God at the age of 30, when my life wasn't working and I felt depressed and anxious a lot. I thought, I want to become an absolutely incredible man, the best version of myself. Previous to that, I put making money first. And at the age of 30, I hit a brick wall and was feeling terrible and wasn't feeling good at all. And there was a lot of warning signs before the age of 30 that I just ignored. But what I learned to do then was start to tune into my body. Your body's constantly communicating to you through thoughts, feelings and emotions. And at the age of 30, I promised myself and I promised God I'm going to become the best version of myself, for myself, and the planet. I want to have a positive impact on my life, but I want to start thinking about the planet as a whole here. So the reason I chose to go vegan, what I decided to do is I'm going to make the world a better place for all life that exists, which meant I had to eat a specific way, which people label as vegan. I'm not really a vegan. What I'm doing is a man that's trying to bring heaven to earth. So my nutrition, so for example, when I choose to eat food, I'm like, all right, okay, well, animals, let's close my eyes. What would it look like in heaven? If I'm trying to bring heaven to earth, how would we treat animals in heaven? And the vision I get is play with them, stroke with them, connect with them, bond with them, care for them, let them care for us. Speak to them, they'll start speaking back to us in their own unique way. Just create a deep, beautiful, loving, caring connection. And I think, well, that's what I'm going to do now on planet Earth. And then I'm anchoring my heavenly vision to the earth now in this realm. So it's a highly spiritual reason why I became vegan. And it's not that I'm vegan, it's that I'm trying to bring heaven to earth. So what I have to then choose within my nutritional intake is what you could class as vegan. Because I don't want to harm any life if I can help it. Not only do I not want to harm any life, I don't want to consume its flesh. Because in my understanding, that's highly negative energy. So I want to eat only positive energy. So for me, that's how I look at food now. I don't look at any measurements, any of the vitamins and minerals and cofactors and enzymes and probiotics and prebiotics. Because actually, one of the experiments I did when I was about 27 is I was like, all right, let's look at all the recommended daily allowances. Protein's the one that we're hyper-obsessed and addicted to. But if you look at protein, you've got to look at the other measurements, right? You can't just say, just protein. If you're going to that realm and living from that realm, you've got to look at all the measurements. So there's obviously protein, carbs, sugar, salt, fiber, vitamins, minerals, cofactors, enzymes, probiotics, prebiotics, and I actually wrote them down on the wall. And that's the most minute way of looking at it. There's about 150 in total. But if you want to get really serious into all of them, like the probiotics and the prebiotics, there's about 1,000. And I'm like, well, I'm going to be eating all of them every single day of my life. I thought, right, I'm going to give it a go. And for about 2 months, I was ordering food from all around the world to get all my vitamins, my vitamin A, vitamin B, B6, B12, vitamin K. Didn't even know there was a vitamin K until this moment of time. And there's vitamin K2. You know, there's all sorts of stuff. And I wrote it down on the wall, and I was spending so much money, ordering food from random places around the world, stressed that my delivery didn't come on time, and I can't get my vitamin K from my incan berries today. I've missed today. I'm going to have to try again tomorrow. You know, spend a fortune overeating to get that much food in me. And I got to a point after 2 months, I got about 50% of the boxes ticked on the smallest version of RDAs, recommended daily allowances to look at. And I got to a point, I go, that's not true. It's impossible to eat that much food. Not just me, who am a big hungry man who's lifting heavy weights. All the humans on the planet are meant to be eating that every day. I went, that's not true. I went, how did I think that was true then? I thought, well, the books I've read. And I thought, well, how do the books know? I thought, well, the machines tell them how much vitamin and minerals and cofactors and proteins in a banana or whatever food. And I thought, right, well, we've only developed their machines in the last 30 years. We've been living on the planet for however many thousands or longer than that years. What did we used to do before we had the machines? And now how I gauge my food is not by any external influence, is bringing it back to my eyes, my brain, and my heart, which are all God-given gifts, which is more advanced than any book if you tune into it. And I look at a food now, and I eat food what is positive energy. I don't eat any negative energy at all. Positive energy is food that looks like positive energy. So on one hand, I've got a burger. On the other hand, I've got a strawberry. Like, if you don't know about the nutritional content of each one, which one you're going to be most attracted to and think, that looks beautiful, you're going to go the strawberry. The strawberry looks more beautiful. And when I pull one strawberry to eat, 2 strawberries always grow in its place. So the more strawberries I eat, which is really good for me and healthy and nutritious and tasty, the more strawberries there are for everybody else on planet Earth. Or I go to the burger, which has got 20 grams of protein in. But if I go and sit in a slaughterhouse and open my eyes and my brain and my senses, I would be highly disgusted by what's going on in the burger, in the slaughterhouse. So I don't want to connect and support that energy. So I only look at food as one thing and one thing only now, and it's energy. And when my body's hungry, I eat positive energy food, which I know is good for me and good for the planet. So that's what veganism means to me. It's not just like measurements. You know, we've got obsessed with these measurements, which is a corrupt. The whole scientific world, I believe, has been corrupt and biased and gives us messages that disinformation and lies. And we can see that now by the pandemic. You know, the early stages of the pandemic, follow the science, get ejected. Now it's been like, no, that was totally wrong. You know, but the first year or two, the science was forcing people to get injected with chemicals that don't even know what they are, and they did. And it turns out looks like they were highly toxic chemicals now, you know, and caused a lot of problems. So I'm like, right, well, science has been hijacked. Science can be lied. I don't really know what that scientific test that the graphs there, how it operated in the factory, and what scientists did it and why they did it and who they were influenced or their bias. So I'm like, I'm just going to forget like books and science and bring it back to my heart, because it's common sense, a lot of this stuff. So I talk about, listen, we should just be eating food from the trees, like, and just leave it at that. You know, there's 80,000 edible plants. You know, you mentioned before, you said everyone's different. We're all unique snowflakes. There's no one bit of sand on the whole world that's the same as the other sand. There's no snowflake that's the same as another snowflake. There's no human that's the same as another human. But your responsibility is to find out how your body operates. And I believe out of the 80,000 edible plants, if you stay persistent and patient enough, you can figure out your unique algorithm by listening to the signs that your body gives you, or what foods you need to be eating in the plant world for you to get whatever you need to get. So you said your hair was falling out, which usually means low iron, which is specific foods that you need to be eating that I would then megadose on them specific foods that give you them specific vibration. So for me, I wasn't bothered by losing weight. I'd already made the decision. I'm not going to kill an animal no matter what. If it means me losing weight, I'll lose weight for the animals. Me getting bigger muscles isn't more important than that animal's life. That was a conclusion I made at the age of 30, and I made a promise to God and myself that I'm not going to contribute intentionally to killing any form of life. I still kill life accidentally when I'm driving my motorbike. Do you know what I mean? People say to me as a vegan, yeah, but you know, when they bury the tree that creates the avocado, you still kill life. I'm like, yeah, you're right, I do. I still being alive contribute to killing life. But there's intentional and non-intentional. So I don't want to say, I'm going to kill that animal for me to have bigger muscles. I don't want to do that. I want to create a heavenly system. I want to create an amazing planet for myself, for humans and animals. I'm all for that. So I decided to do that. And so there's 80,000 edible plants on the earth, and I just stayed persistent enough. And 5 years into the journey, someone came up to me and went, Anthony, you eat these? I was running a retreat. And I went, what are they? And I'd seen them and I was like, what is that? And it was sprouts. And she went, well, these are sprouts. These are growing and tomorrow they'll be a little bit bigger. And I was like, so they're actually alive kind of vibe. Like they're growing, you know, they're not like just there, they're the changing state. And she went, yeah. I went, I'm not eating any food like that currently as a vegan. So what I do and what I've done my whole life and I'm still doing now as a 45-year-old man, when a new bit of information or new bit of food comes in my life or a new something, I go, well, I'm going to do that every day for 1 month and see how I look and how I feel at the end of the month. And so what I did is I ate sprouts every day in quite a big, large quantity every day.
What's a large quantity?
I'd say about 50 grams every day. A lot, like a box full like that every day. Like, well, I put them in every smoothie. I'd put them on every salad. I'd put them in every meal would have sprouts in it. Get them in my body as much as I can so my body would have an impact by its vibration or its input. So after about 2 weeks, I started going, oh my God. I was like, this is what I've been missing. This is the one I've been missing. Wow. At the same time, I was feeling that and thinking that, going, oh, yes. And my mates are going, Anth, you're on steroids. You start taking steroids. Please just tell us the truth. I went, I'm not on steroids. I've started eating sprouts. And I knew in that moment, sprouts is the one.
Sprouts is the natural steroids.
Well, anything you can make in a factory, right? God's already created on the planet. You've just got to figure out where it is. Of that 80,000 is a lot. I've been vegan for 15 years. I've probably eaten about 1,000 plants. I haven't eaten 79,000 plants. I'm thinking, what else is there out there? But when I've Googled how many edible plants there are, there's 80,000. I was blown away. So all you've got to do is find out what you need for your life journey to super boost your body by using God's vibration. You know, and the more plants you eat, the more plants we need for everyone. So you're making the world a greener place, a better place, more natural, beautiful place. And the more plants we've got, the cleaner the soil is, the cleaner the air is, the more you benefit every bit of life on this planet, which is good karma for you, versus a slaughterhouse. And a slaughterhouse is a hell vibration. It's the lowest frequency vibration you can possibly bring to the earth, and it's polluting the earth. It's the third most polluting industry on planet Earth. The most polluting industry on planet Earth is the war industry. The second most polluting industry on the earth is the fashion industry. And the third most polluting industry on the earth is the animal agriculture industry. So it's a really bad thing to connect with and support. So once I started eating the sprouts, because if you think about it, right, away from the book that tells me how much vitamins, minerals, core factors, protein, carbs is in that sprout, if I'm going to the gym and I want to grow, I eat the food that nature provides that's growing. So when I started eating them, I started growing. And I was like, oh, it just makes sense. That's what I'm saying. It's just really obvious what we should be doing. You know, it's common sense. The kingdom of heaven is, we don't need science. The kingdom of heaven is within every being. It's obvious. You know, so I started eating them every single day of my life. I now travel the world with a bag of sunflower seeds and a bag of mung beans. And when I can't access my sprouts, which I can access everywhere here in Bali because it's really healthy, that's one of the reasons I love Bali, is I can get sprouts everywhere. But I still travel the world with them in case they've sold out, because I make sure I eat sprouts every single day unless I'm fasting. So, for example, if I get a cup and I put that much sunflower seeds in it, which you can access sunflower seeds anywhere in the world, they're very easy to get. Put that much sunflower seeds in it, and then that much water on it, and then I go to bed, and the next day the water will be gone nearly because the seeds will absorb it. And what that does is wakes the seeds up like it's been rained on. It's like just mimicking rain. That them seeds are there now alive and activated, and I pour the remaining water off, which isn't that much, then I leave them in the same cup. They start to grow. They've got positive life force, expansive energy activated in it from me combining earth energy with water energy, elemental magic. So I become a wizard. and I've combined two elements to create one, and that's the only food you can do that with also. So what that's giving a message to God is saying, I know how this works. I'm going to prove it to you by taking action, by putting that with that and getting that. And that's the only food you can do that with and have that level of connection with. Do you know what I mean? So that's another reason that makes sprouts unique. So when people come to me and say, oh, I was vegan, didn't work for me, I said, well, you're eating sprouts every day. They're like, no, man, that's what you were missing. That's the one thing you're missing. It actually happens to be the most nutritious food on planet Earth as well. There's nothing. So one broccoli sprout, which is about the size of my hair, very small, thin thing, is the equivalent on a nutritional level when you start sticking the machine in it of eating 4 full broccoli heads. So if I'm putting a box of 1,000 broccolis things in my smoothie every day straight after the gym, I'm eating about 400 broccoli nutrition energy.
Yeah, sprouts are really incredible.
It changed my life. It changed my life more than... So I've been doing that experiment that I've been doing that from a very young age.
Yeah.
I've been experimenting with food since I was 16. Started with the meat and sort of like the cabbage soup diet, the GI diet, the carnivore diet, the Atkins diet. I've tried all the diets you could possibly imagine and stuck to them. I'm a scientist. I don't just go, I kind of did it. If it's a 6-month diet, I'm going to do it exactly as it says so I can see how it feels, because that's the only way to discern what's true and not. Because books have been hijacked. I've read one book on meat eating, and I read 500 pages of it, and the case studies and the science in it, I was like, that's the truth. That was amazing, that. 5-10 years later, I'm reading a book on plant-based, and the facts and figures and case studies and words and that made me think, well, that's the truth. And I think, well, I've just read throughout my life completely alternate books that tell me completely different conclusions, that when I read one, it read true, and when I read the other, it read true. And I'm like, well, therefore, how am I meant to figure out what's true? The only way to figure out what's true is to apply it to your own life and then see how you look and see how you feel. The external world, how you look, and the internal world, how you feel, will tell you the truth. But you've got to be good at listening to your own body.
Yeah.
Your body is always communicating with you.
It is.
All the time on the most beautiful, advanced level. And if you tune into your body, that's tuning into God. Your body's a God-given machine. When you learn how to listen to your body and take the signs it wants, which your body doesn't want to be poisoned, that's what a hangover is. A hangover is your body communicating to you very loudly, saying, I didn't like that. But we don't pay attention to it, and the next week we go and do the same thing. If you can listen to your body and do the things that excite you, make it feel good, make it feel energized, make it feel healthy, make it feel happy, make it feel joyful, that's going to navigate you to your highest timeline. And that's how we change the world. If you do things that lock you into lower frequencies, and keep doing things that make you feel bloated or frustrated or guilty, you know, sometimes you can eat 20 cookies and enjoy the sweet hit you're getting at the time, but afterwards feel a bit shit and actually feel guilty, a little bit shameful, you know, and that's your body communicating with you. You're getting them emotions for a reason. You know, you've got to listen to your body. And some people don't know that's what's happening in that moment. They don't know it's your body communicating to you. And you can find out what's true quite quickly. So at the age of 30, I had that thought pattern. I thought, well, I'm just going to keep doing the things that make me feel good, you know, and consider the health of my body, but also consider the health of the planet. A lot of the people consider the health of the body, but they're not considering the health of the planet. And that's why we're in a lot of planetary problems. If we start coming from a higher frequency and think, well, can I do things that are beneficial for my body and the planet? That's a higher way of thinking. That's coming from the heart. You know, that's considering us all as one family, which is absolutely essential. So, yeah, veganism locked me into that realm. There's a lot of things I've learned that you call hacks that I call truths. You know, and you're a unique snowflake. I'm a unique snowflake. You've got to stay patient and persistent enough for you to figure out your unique algorithm by tuning into your body and knowing what it needs, by exploring and experiment with different foods. So you might need 4 cucumbers every week. I mean, it might need 4 beetroots every week because you need that and I need this. You know, but it's your responsibility to find out what you need for your body, but knowing deep in your heart that there's 80,000 edible plants. God's given everything we ever need from the trees.
Tell me what yours are. Your day in, day out thing.
Yeah, so I fast in the morning, which is another thing I figured out, that protein and calories. You know, people go so heavily to protein and calories.
So you're fasting until what time?
Midday.
Okay, so from 7 p.m. to midday.
I finish eating at 8 p.m.
8 p.m. to midday.
Yeah, sometimes a bit earlier, never later than 8 p.m. And sometimes I'm not eating past 12 o'clock. Just go with my energies, but 12 till 8 is my pretty tight timeline of what I'm doing. So what I used to always have what I call a smoothie of destiny, which I'll tell you what the smoothie of destiny is.
Yes, please do.
So I used to have a smoothie of destiny before the gym and after the gym. And let me tell you, the smoothie of destiny, which I'll tell you what it is in a minute, is very, very, very healthy. And I thought, well, that's going to give me more food, so I'm going to get more muscular and have more energy to go at the gym when I want to. But I heard so much about intermittent fasting, and it kept coming in my reality, my reality. And I'd done it a day or two, but I never really applied it. But on January the 1st this year, I thought, right, I'm going to do it for 2 months now. This is my new 1 month experiment that I've always done throughout my entire life. I thought, I'm going to do the intermittent fasting one now. I thought, I'll probably lose a little bit of size because I'm not getting as much food in my body. And what happened to me is I put on size. So that tells me it's not just about protein and calories again, which I already knew. Because if it was about protein and calories, I would put more size on having a smoothie before and after, right? So there's a lot more in play than just proteins and calories. So what happens when you fast? When you're in your sleep mode. So I go to bed feeling hungry. My stomach's empty I go to bed at 11 o'clock. Stop eating at 8, go to bed at 11. 3 hours is a really good rule to stick to. Do not eat food 3 hours before bed. It gets a little bit hard, that one. That's actually when I get tested the most in the day. I'm so good it's easy, but it's still when I get more tested the most. And then you go to bed and your stomach, your digestive system is off instantly, and you go straight into sleep mode at nighttime, which is repair mode, which is release all the hormones and chemicals that you need for whatever your journey needs, whatever your body needs, whatever problems you're going through. Your body will sort it out for you when you're asleep. If you're going to bed with food on your stomach, your body's got to then digest the food first before it can go into sleep mode. So it's still in daytime digestion mode going to bed, which is not a good thing. So you release as a man, you release a lot of testosterone. That's why you wake up with the morning horny. That's why men wake up with an erection, because they've released a lot of testosterone to help fix their body, and a lot of human growth hormone, which is actually a steroid that's sold in a factory, but your body produces itself when it's asleep. So when I continue staying hungry and don't eat in the morning and go to the gym and get in beast mode, and I'm like, at the gym, which I can access that energy really easy and efficiently. Every time I'm going, I'm releasing little floods, little pulses of human growth hormone. So I got bigger eating less. So I now never eat in the morning because it's had such an amazing impact on my body. And then the first meal of the day after the gym, I'll have a smoothie of destiny. So in my smoothie of destiny, and I've labelled it this, because I coach so many men now, and I tell them about this smoothie of destiny, and they start implementing it, and they have so much powerful, profound changes quick. So in my smoothie of destiny, there's 2 bananas, 4 dates, a big handful of goji berries, a handful of rocket or arugula, a massive box of sprouts. I'm putting broccoli sprouts in, and I'm also putting sunflower seed sprouts in that I've made myself. Almond butter, strawberries, 1 or 2 vegetables. So sometimes I put in 1/4 of a cucumber, sometimes I put in half a broccoli, sometimes I put in half a carrot, sometimes I put in half a beetroot. But I'm just getting the vibration of that unique frequency going through my body every day. And in that one smoothie of destiny, I'm getting a lot of positive energy, God foods, and it's liquid based, so it's quite easy for my body to digest instantly. So I have one smoothie of destiny every day because it guarantees me to get the sprouts in my body. But I'm also getting other foods that I generally wouldn't eat in the day. But it also tastes glorious because the foods, you've got to get the ratios right. For me, a healthy meal is something that tastes healthy. A healthy meal for me is something that tastes very, very good and is very, very, very healthy. I think if you miss out on either one of them, you're missing out on what food should be or what a meal should be. It should be healthy and tasty. So if it's tasty and toxic, you're poisoning yourself. If it's healthy and not tasty, and you've got to go, it's kind of not really how it should be. So my smoothies of destiny, I'm using the power of the bananas, the power of the dates, the power of the strawberries, and the power of the almond butter for the taste. So my smoothie of destiny got amazing foods in it, but I can only taste the really sweet, nice tasting food. So after I'm worked out and I'm really hungry and I haven't eaten and I have a smoothie of destiny, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I'd like to bless my food, but I don't even need to bless my food because I'm like, oh yes, and it tastes so good. So a smoothie of destiny, when someone comes to me, and they want to get healthier, right? First thing we're going to do is get sprouts in your body. If people say to me, give me only one tip on how I can be muscular or healthier or more positive or get rid of this depression, I literally say start eating sprouts every day. That's the one thing that honestly that changed my life more than any other food. And also in society, we don't really know about sprouts.
Exactly. It's not really spoken about.
Ever.
I know,
in
right?
any realm. Like nutrition, vegans, non-vegans.
Yeah.
The only time I've really interacted with it before that moment in time when I'm at the retreat, I said, I've seen them, what are they? The sprouts, I went, what are they? I've seen them. You're just little garnishings on the top of food.
Yeah. Microgreens.
Exactly. The word sprouts and microgreens is the same word.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like saying aubergine and eggplant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the same thing, but just different words. Microgreens is the same thing as sprouts.
Mm.
What it is a seed. Any seed, there's 80,000 edible plants, therefore there's 80,000 potential sprouts. What it is a seed that's had water on it and has been activated and it's been called a sprout in the first 4 days of its life. After that, it's called a seedling. But you eat it in the first 4 days. So it's 4 days from seed to starting to grow. It's called a sprout. So that's what a sprout actually is. And it's also called a microgreen.
So after the smoothie, what's the next meal?
So I listen to my body. And when I get hungry, I eat again. Within the 8-hour window, I eat as much as I want to eat by listening to the communication from my body.
So you don't have like 2 meals a day, 3 meals a day, you just eat whatever you want?
Yeah, whatever I feel like until 8 o'clock. Okay. So I listen to my body and it changes.
Some days 2 meals, other days 3 meals.
Exactly. So it depends how I'm training, what I'm lifting, how am I sleeping, how am I stressed, who am I interacting with, where in the world am I living, pollution. You know, electromagnetic frequencies, Wi-Fi. It's got so many variables that I just listen to my body.
Got it.
That's the best thing to do, is not follow any external information from a doctor, from a nutritionist, from me, from you.
Yeah.
We can give you nice guidelines, like I think eating plants is the healthiest thing you can do.
In every meal, do you have sprouts?
If I got access to them, yes, but I make sure I get them.
First thing in the morning, always. And then
always in my smoothie of destiny.
Yeah.
But if I'm eating a meal in my house and I've just ordered from Gojek and I've got sprouts in my fridge, I'm just putting them on my meal.
Got it.
If I can get them in the restaurant, I'm getting them in the restaurant. I know the restaurants I can get them in, you know. So usually about 2 hours after my smoothie of destiny, when I'm feeling hungry again, I'd usually eat one fruit. I have at least one mono meal a day. So I eat one piece or type of fruit as a meal every day. So sometimes it's like 4 bananas. Sometimes it's a big bag of strawberries until I'm full as a meal. Sometimes it's a full papaya as a meal. Sometimes it's a full pineapple. So I like to eat a mono meal organic fruit every day as well.
So you never you don't track macros and micronutrients?
I don't believe in measurements.
Yeah, you don't track
I think measurements stress you out.
It does. Like the world has made us stressful because we're testing everything, right?
Because if you start tracking that and you go into the measurement realm, there's so many things that open up that you can't get it locked down because I tried it, it's impossible.
Yeah. So you're just intuitive.
Well, I'm tuning into the body.
Exactly.
Like my body's connected to God. You can make a baby in your womb without any conscious thought. Yeah. That's God level creation magic energy that's in your body. If you learn how to listen to the signs that it's giving you constantly, that's going to be way better than say, that dietitian told me I should be having 180 grams of protein every single day. Your body changes every day. Yeah. You know, I start coming into this, I've done a little Google, how many recommended daily allowances are there? And the ChatGPT said, actually, this is a really complex question.
It is.
It changes every day, given how much sleep you've had, you know, what age you are.
Yeah.
You know, the older you get, you should be having more vitamin C. And you just can't track it all. Once you go into the measurement realm, you can't track it all. So I brought it back to one measurement only I'm looking at. And I'm not letting any book tell me. And it's energy.
How you feel.
I'm either eating positive energy or negative energy, and I can tell what's positive energy by looking at it and using my brain and thinking, what does it look like? Does it look beautiful? And how did it come into creation?
But also how you feel.
How you feel, yeah. Well, that's the gauges. That's the external, is looking at the food. What does it look like and how did it come into creation is how you can tell if it's positive or negative energy. And also once it's in your body, how you feel and how you look. So if you have a really, really unhealthy week where you're drinking alcohol, eating shit food, doing drugs, you know, doing all the toxic things, by the end of the week you will look and feel bad.
Yeah.
Flip that, if you have the healthiest week of your life, you're going to bed, sleeping better than you ever have, getting up, praying to God, drinking water from a waterfall, eating only organic food, doing yoga and running every day.
You only eat organic?
I try my best to only eat organic.
So you're like 90% organic?
I would say 80 or 90%. So if you're not eating organic, which the whole organic industry is quite corrupt, but I will always choose to show God and the person who's selling me I want organic. So even if it's not really organic,
because a lot of people are promoting that it's organic, but it's actually not organic.
And the other way around, it doesn't have to say organic and it is organic. Yeah. So, but I always buy what's organic when I have the option to buy what's organic. I will always navigate that way because the intention is to buy organic. My intention, not knowing the background of the food, is my intention is to buy organic, because if you're not eating organic, you're eating GM food, which is questionable, but also a pesticide. A pesticide isn't one thing. It's not just, oh, that's a pesticide. A pesticide is an amalgamation of about 5,000 different poisonous chemicals mixed together to make what they call a pesticide. So if I'm eating an inorganic apple thinking I'm healthy, I could be eating 5,000 poisonous chemicals and the apple. And my body could be highly allergic to one of them 5,000 poisonous chemicals. You know, every food you eat is either healthy for you or not healthy for you. So inorganic food, unfortunately, is a black magic spell. If you're eating food that's not organic, it's probably going to be poisonous for you, unfortunately. And this is the tight line. This is why you've got to be disciplined. You know, you've got to be disciplined with consistency to get the true benefits from what a healthy lifestyle truly is.
Are you exercising only in the morning?
I like to exercise in the morning because there's more testosterone in my body and I've got
You
more
don't
power.
exercise outside of that, so you only exercise once a day,
Once
and
a
you
day,
do
yeah.
it every single day for 7 days.
I do 7 days, but I'm trying my best to pull it back to 6 days just to give my body that one day as an
rest.
experiment. But this is one of the hardest things I've ever done. I'm really good at doing experiments, but I've got so much energy in my body, and this is why I know veganism works, because I've got so much energy in my body. And when I speak to other men and watch other men and speak to other women, watch other women and listen to the general public, I know I'm full of energy in a way not many other people are.
So what's your gym routine like?
I tune into my body and see what I feel.
Are you more weights or you're more body weight?
Body weight. It's more healthy. It's more
So
functional.
calisthenics?
Calisthenics.
Okay.
I do weights as well. I love weights. I've done weights my whole life, but calisthenics is definitely a healthier way to train the body. It's more functional.
Let's say, like the percentage-wise of how much you train calisthenics from weight training.
I'd say probably 70% calisthenics, 30% weights. But I do how I split my training is masculine, feminine, and inner child. What that means for me is masculine is weights and strength, feminine is yoga, and inner child is cardiovascular, because cardiovascular is aiming primarily at the heart, and children come from the heart. So my perfect split when I'm in my zone, which is when I go to Gilead, I get in my zone straight away. I do 1 day weight training or strength training, 1 day free flow yoga into a run. The next day strength training, the next day free flow yoga into a run. Next day strength training, next day free flow yoga into a run, which is 6 days, last day off.
Okay, so you're doing about 2-3 days of weight training, and the rest is
3
more-
days, 3 days weight training,
Yeah.
3 days yoga, 3 days running.
Beautiful.
It's like a triangle, like this triangle here. I keep my yoga expansive, I keep my strength expansive, and I keep my heart expansive.
Right.
All in. You shouldn't do one without the other.
It's
So
in 1 hour a day.
it depends how my energy's feeling. So generally 1 hour is good for me, but when I go to Gilead, my body can do 2 hours and I'm fine. My body's more charged on Gilead, and that's because there's no pollution in the air around there.
You have great skin, by the way.
Yeah, because I eat healthy.
Are you doing anything else externally aside from the diet aspect to it? Like, are you putting anything in your skin? Because I know that you say you're in the sun every single day, right? And then the opposite of that is being too much in the sun, which what we spoke about is actually bad for your skin.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't look like the type of person who's been in the sun like all the time with like a ton of wrinkles.
I'm not in the sun all the time.
Yeah, but you get a lot of it every day, like an hour at least, right?
I try to be naked if I can in the sun for not an hour, about 15 minutes.
15 minutes a
and
day.
I'm fully naked, and I open my legs and I let the sunlight energy into my all areas.
Yeah.
Whilst closing my eyes, and what people would look like I'm sunbathing, but I'm not sunbathing. What I'm doing is doing this. I love you, Father, Son. Thank you so much for all your light, your warmth, your energy that you give me and all life on this planet from the start of time. I want you to know I'm really, really, really grateful for your light frequencies. I accept your light codes into every single cell of my body to absorb into my DNA and give me all the love, all the light that my body needs to be a truly healthy man and help build world peace for all life that exists. Thank you, Father, Son, for your love. I also invite you to wash away any lower frequencies that are in any cell in any part of my body right now and replace it with your light. I love you, Father, Son. Thank you so much for all your positivity, and I am open fully to it right now in this moment. So I'm really getting into magic. And because when you're a little bit browner, you look a bit better, but it's not just a
true.
case of a tan.
Yeah.
It's a case of your body's going to a higher frequency because it's connected to sunlight energy. The tan's just one of the many things that the sun gives. The sun gives nothing but love and light.
So you don't use sunblock?
This is the thing. So this is where one of the conversations, the first conversation we ever had, actually, I was like, well, I don't believe in sunblock. I believe it's got chemicals in it.
Yeah.
You know, when you're
So
rubbing...
there's the non-toxic versions.
There is non-toxic, and I mean, my nose gets a little bit burnt.
Yeah.
Because I had an accident when I was younger, and my nose is more sensitive to the sun than the rest of my body. My rest of my body can stay in the sun all day.
Your nose is like on a constant sunburn.
In them 10 or 15 minutes I'm open to the sun, my body goes lovely colour brown, but my nose can go a little bit pink.
Yeah.
So I'll just quickly tell you the story I told you the other night, but I'll tell it for the guys that are watching this show.
Yeah.
I was really burned from playing in the sun when I was a young boy, probably about 7 or 8 years old, when you just play on holiday in the pool for 9 hours a day non-stop. I already had sunburn on every part of my body, and I was drinking water, and my playful sister nudged the bottle and tried to make me spill it, and the bottle just scraped my nose when it was already sunburnt, and a large chunk of my nose came off, and I kind of got scarred skin on my nose now, which that skin's just highly sensitive, so my nose goes a little bit burnt, but I still don't want to rub chemicals on it. You know, even the healthier versions, what I do is the same as what I do to the rest of my life, is I listen to my body. I can tell when it's getting to the point where I've had too much sun on my nose or the rest of my body. And my nose comes a lot quicker than the rest of my body. So after 15 minutes of being in the sun, my nose feels a little bit sore, and I'm like, I can feel that now. What I'm going to do now is just go inside the sun, inside in the shade, and not get any more sun. So I believe we're all unique snowflakes. I believe the sun's a very, very, very healthy thing that we shouldn't be scared of. Yeah. You know, I think that we're scared of it is not. I think, you know, when people say to me, I shouldn't eat bananas, Ant, it's too much sugar. I'm like, don't worry about the sugars in the banana. The banana loves you. The second you're putting worry energy into the sun or into the banana, we're not living our highest potential. We're not connected to nature. You know?
I was just in Japan, and everyone was in the using an umbrella. Nobody wants to get a tan. Nobody wants to be in the sun, right? So obviously the Asian culture has a completely different way of thinking, being, living.
And genetics, like you say.
And genetics. And the European, Western culture have also a completely different way of living. And they want to sunbake and they want to suntan. While the flip side of that is, sure, they're genetically blessed, but also they do things so that they can look youthful as they age, right? So I did speak to you about the UV index, which you had no clue about,
no, I didn't
and you didn't understand about that.
Yeah.
But so I believe that the sun is very healing. It's important. I mean, it grows trees
Everything.
and fruits and life.
Everything. It gives
you
everything
know?
love and light.
So
Everything.
if it's doing that, it's going to do that for human health too.
Definitely.
But the problem is we abuse the amount of sun consumption and the UV rays that we're, utilizing every single day. And because of that, the sun has become more demonized than it's supposed to be, like a health hack.
It's like a god to me.
So,
it's like a god. But another thing is, I also believe if you're not eating healthy, you can't absorb the true
exactly. You won't be able to do it with the vitamin Ds.
It's a powerful energy, the sun. Yes. If you're not eating healthy, you can't hold the power of the sun. So I think if you don't eat healthy, you're more likely to get the negative sides of the sun.
Yeah.
But so I think you've got to eat really healthy to be able to absorb the full potential of the sun.
Yeah.
Away from my nose, I've learned the more sun I can take, which is always the limit for me.
Yeah.
You know, I can take a lot more than the average person because I'm used to it and I eat very healthy. But also there's a limit for me. But I've learned the more I can get my limit higher, the more powerful I feel and better I look.
What's your hydration like? Do you drink a lot of coconut water? I know you do.
Yeah. Well, I don't drink anything from plastic. I'm really against plastic usage.
Same here. I don't like plastic either.
So I only drink glass bottled water, which is not perfect.
It's hard to get them in a lot of places, though, in the world.
Hard to get them, and
but,
it's not very...
in Bali, I'm surprised to have a lot of it.
Yeah, definitely. Bali's the healthiest place on planet Earth.
In Japan, like every single convenience store had plastic bottles only. And there were just very limited places where I could find glass. But here, it's like you can find a lot of it.
So I drink glass bottled water. I drink structured hydrogenated water, which is kind of like a process that's made, which is like through machines, but as good as we can do on planet Earth. And I drink a lot of coconut water and juices.
Juices, as in fresh juice?
Freshly made juices, which are accessible everywhere in Bali, aren't they?
Yeah. So lots of water and lots of juices.
Yeah.
You don't drink coffee?
I drink one single shot black Americano.
First thing in the morning?
First thing in the morning only. And if I'm not going to the gym, I won't have a coffee.
Yeah.
I only have a coffee to give me that little caffeine boost that does help the...
Yeah. Do you sleep perfect?
I go to bed at 11 o'clock.
But do you sleep like a baby? You don't have any sleep issues?
Unbelievable sleep. I absolutely love sleep.
Me too.
I've mastered my sleep process.
We're sleep buddies.
It's a practice.
Having sleep buddies are cool because, like, I love people who love sleep because it's the number one health hack.
Definitely.
You know, without sleep, you're not repairing, and we all know that. You know.
Yeah.
Running on 3-4 hours of sleep. What is that?
Yeah.
How are people even coping?
Well,
they're not. That's what it is. They're coping.
Yeah. Well, one thing is, I do believe some people need less sleep than others. The whole "we're all unique snowflakes" thing again.
Yes.
But two, sleep's a practice. You've got to figure out how your body likes to go to sleep. The 3 things I've seen that affect sleep, because I do health coaching, and the 4 things, when someone comes to me and says, Anth, I want to get better, something's not right in my life, I go, right, let's look at these 4 areas. Nutrition, exercise, sleep, and toxins. It spells NEST as an acronym. Nutrition, exercise, sleep, and toxins. So with the sleep, when they're saying I'm not sleeping well, I'm like, right, what caffeine you're drinking?
Yeah.
If you're drinking caffeine past midday, you're going to have problems. Okay, so first thing's caffeine, because a lot of people are addicted to caffeine, right? First thing's caffeine. The second thing is like when you're having your last meal of the day. Again, if your body wants to go to sleep mode and you're still digesting food, you might not go to sleep very easy because your body's still fucking active. It's still active and moving, and your digestive system takes up like 70% of your body's energy. It's a massive undertaking. So I look at when the eating lasts before bed, and also I'm saying, are you going to bed at the same time every night? The routine side of sleep. Your body wants to get into a practice. I go to bed 11 o'clock pretty much every night. And my body knows, it's time for sleep. I'm going to start getting tired now and start powering the system down. Some people go to bed at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2. If you're going out at the weekend, you're going to be going to bed at 3 or 4 o'clock, which just knocks your whole week out of play. So they're the 3 main things I look at. And also alcohol's a part of play as well. But they're the 3 things I'm looking at when someone says I'm having a problem with my sleep.
Yeah, so for you, your sleep is impeccable. You drink a lot of positive liquids, so nothing toxic.
Nothing toxic. Well, coffee can be seen as toxic, but...
Well, if you're a fast metabolizer of it and you're just doing a shot first thing in the morning, amazing, But a lot of people are over-abusing like everything, right?
So I've actually experimented with coffee, and my conclusion with coffee is it's about 70% positive and about 30%... Well, it dehydrates you.
Yeah.
But if I'm having one single shot before the gym at like 8 o'clock in the morning... It shrinks your stomach and helps with the fast a lot and takes my mind off the feeling of hunger and puts my mind in, right, I'm going to smash the gym here. So I do believe, and I would drop it out of my life if I believe it didn't have a positive impact. I believe overall, and it's a being as well, it's from God, and again, you can get healthier versions of coffee. You can get some that are not good quality and some are very good quality, so I do believe overall, if you drink coffee a little bit, I think it can be used as a very healthy medicine. Or food or drink, sorry. So I have one single shot of coffee 6 times a week.
And then the training, which is beautiful. I love the analogy and what you use, the masculine, feminine, the inner child.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. Yeah. And I haven't heard anybody word it that way, but it's such a great understanding of how you should structure your workouts. And I like the fact that, there's obviously, the weight training aspect to it. Then there's the yoga, the Pilates, just...
feminine side.
Yeah, not even
more
just
3-dimensional. It's like weight training is like this usually.
Absolutely, yeah.
But 3-dimensional is more functional. It's softer.
Beautiful.
You're more reflective inwards. In my yoga, a lot of the time I'm praying to God and checking in with my body, as well as the exercise side of it. So it's a lot more like beautiful and gentle and caring and healing, like feminine.
Yeah.
It feels really feminine to me. So. And I love it.
And then there's the plan forward way of eating. And now. I'm going to dive a little bit on the stats when it comes to plan forward diets, and just to try to put things in context, right? Because we were talking about how genetics is a massive component to how each of us thrive based on diet and lifestyle and movement, and how that affects gut microbiome, but also the gut-brain axis, so mental health, gut health. And studies show between 40 to 50% have a gene variant of the NTHFR gene, which means that it reduces the absorption in the body of folate. Now, people who lack folate means they risk having a B12 deficiency, and anyone that has a B12 deficiency, you would know this. You understand vitamins and minerals, develop neurological issues. My son had that when he was younger. He was diagnosed at having mild form of Tourette's, and I had no idea that he was a B12 vitamin deficiency. So understanding that is really important, but also you develop other kind of diseases, right? On the flip side of that, there's also between 80% of people who can metabolize and work well with a plant-forward diet. So that isn't 100% of people, but then they also need the vitamin and mineral components from eating meat. Okay, to be able to make sure that their body gets the adequate amount of nutritional value in order to be able to thrive in every decade of human existence. Now, because you're a plan-forward eater yourself, and you're coaching different types of people in different backgrounds of life, culturally, the way they eat, how do you assess that, and how do you speak to clients who are not plan-forward 100%? Maybe got deeper into the genetic variants, maybe did a test with 23andMe and understood or a nutrigenomics test, which understood hey, these certain foods I can't metabolize well. How are you tackling those kind of questions?
So if someone comes to me and want to stay, I don't force them to go vegan. I like people to do whatever feels comfortable with them, but I have this level of communication with them when I say, well, I do believe it's the healthiest way to eat when we're talking about the health of your body and the planet, which I'm really into because I feel like it accesses a karmic energy as well as a physical energy. So I think we've got to look at physical energy and also a fifth dimensional energy, which is karma. So that's what we'll have that conversation. But if they still want to eat meat, I'm like, well, you do what you feel you need to do. I don't think the way we understand the body is fully correct. So someone, or I don't think we'll understand much of it at all, if I'm honest with you. I think there's a lot we don't understand, and I think you can change your genetics. I think you can change your genes. So, for example, for someone who does eat meat, I still think they're going to potentially run into a lot of problems and diseases. Just because you eat meat doesn't say, oh, we're not going to get any problems now. It's such a broad thing. People come to me and are like, oh, Ant, what about your vitamin B12? I started eating it because of vitamin B12, and I'm like, well, are you still drinking alcohol? They went, yeah, I still drink alcohol, quite regularly. And I'm like, I think not getting vitamin B12 would be better than drinking alcohol. It's such a wide range. And what I genuinely believe is that if you energize your body on a high enough level and frequency, is that I believe my body can produce vitamin B12 within it. You were printed in your mother's womb as a baby. There's a miraculous energy in all beings. Vitamin B12, I don't feel like I need anything that got that specific one measurement that we've been told from that test and that book and that. I just trust my body on a really profound level that I know I've got God within me. And if I choose my higher timelines constantly, that I just feel I'm going to have everything great on that journey.
So does someone not work with you if they are meat eaters? Do they choose not to?
All people that work with me are meat eaters. It's very rare vegan comes my way.
Okay.
Yeah, so
you're still...
90% of humans on planet Earth are meat eaters, do you know what I mean?
So you still provide them with a diet that will eat meat.
I talk to them.
Yeah.
I'm looking at nutrition, but I'm looking at exercise, sleep and toxins. Some of them want to come with me because they want to quit alcohol.
Yeah.
Some of them come with me because they're going through a breakup.
Yeah. But isn't that contradictory to who you are?
I would date a girl who's not a vegan.
But to coach them?
I don't mind. We're all brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
We can go on a journey together and see what we learn from each other.
But what kind of program do you give them? I mean, from a nutritional standpoint, because you don't eat meat.
Yeah.
But then you are giving them meat foods.
I'm not giving them meat foods.
No, I mean you're prescribing it, or you're recommending because they need to eat meat because that's what they eat.
I still recommend them not to eat meat. I think meat is the most toxic thing you can put in your body.
You tell them not to eat.
Out of all, I would recommend it.
Yeah, you'd recommend not to
definitely.
eat. Okay.
So out of all the things you can put in your body, the way I see food.
So you just educate them, for example.
Conversate.
Yeah, you educate them on how you can get the same results on a plant-forward diet.
Yeah.
And you can skip those kind of meats. Yeah.
Now, I would suggest if you want to work with me for 1 month, why don't you try for 1 month not eating meat and see how you look and feel? And if you don't feel and look better, then at the end of the month go back to eating meat if that's genuinely what works for you. But while you're working with me and while you can't come to me, let me tell you, one of the best things I've done in my entire life was stopping eating meat. So why don't you explore and experiment with that while we're in close collaboration for a month? Because you're 35 years old now. 1 month off meat isn't going to hurt you at all, really, is it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So
1
let's
month
explore.
is a nice try.
But they can still say, if they say, oh, I still want to eat my chicken though, Aunt, I'll say, well, why don't you eat sprouts with your chicken as well and see what goes on.
Yeah.
So I can still implement and advise things that have worked for me in their diet, even if they want to eat meat. But I want to reiterate, out of all the things, the way I view reality and life and how we can create change and positive and negative energy now, the most negative energy thing you can put in your body is meat, because of where it came from and the fact you killed a beautiful, cute, caring, funny, sweet animal for either protein or sensory pleasure. The only two reasons people eat meat is for protein or nutrition,
Right.
so for their own benefit, or for enjoying the taste of it, for so their own benefit. Where even if it was the only place I could get vitamin B12, and in the future I might get a disease, I would still take that disease in 10 or 15 or 20 years so that animal can live. I don't believe we should be not only killing animals, but then consuming its flesh. I think that's a really dark thing to do. How I gauge reality now as a man. Like when I want to build heaven on earth and break heaven on earth, that's the worst thing to be doing, to not bring heaven to earth, to actually keep hell on earth. So if I say, right, picture what heaven would look like, but if I say picture what hell would look like,
Right.
you would think, well, killing and slaughter and rape and stealing, and that's what we're doing in that industry. That and I'm not for that at all.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense when you explain it like that. When you think about it,
When you take the measurements out of it, which the measurements have come from
Well, what
governments.
life was like before, though.
Exactly.
Like, what was
we didn't know
like-
about the measurements. We didn't know about vitamin B12 till 20 years ago or whatever.
What it was centuries ago, they were hunter-gatherers. They were hunting for food.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the way to eat. That
Yeah.
was the norm.
Definitely. And if we were in
You
that realm
know?
still, I'll be like, pass the bacon. But we're not in that realm anymore.
Yeah, we're not in that realm.
We're actually in a new realm, and we've got
Different.
We're going in a different realm now, but
and
we're
different responsibility.
different
Different
responsibilities.
perspective, different responsibility.
We're a different species.
But
We've
also-
evolved. We've evolved.
We
So
have.
where do we want to evolve next? Because the next level of
And
evolution.
it's different because now it's all factory and processed.
Yeah.
So
and
it's
it's gone
obviously
way out of
it's
control.
very different. It's no longer natural like how
not
it used to
nat-
be. So
and
that's the reason
antibiotics.
why. That's the reason why it got so toxic. The environment and the culture and the perspective got so toxic, because it's now industrialized.
Profit.
And
Profit and greed.
Yeah, and it's no
is
longer
within that industry, which has made it all highly toxic.
Yeah, and that's the reason why. And I know, like I believe, like health isn't just about diet and exercise.
No.
You know that
No,
too,
no,
right?
definitely,
It's
yeah,
about
yeah.
community.
Yeah.
It's about purpose. It's about environment.
Definitely about purpose.
And for someone who is so, big on spirituality, and someone who is a multifaceted human being with so many talents, you are a DJ, you love music, you
Great dancer.
you're a great
Businessman,
dancer,
amazing at yoga, play the
Yeah.
guitar.
you are a coach, and you want to help people, change their lives,
Mm-hmm.
and you're a community builder. You are just so expansive and a forward thinking in the way you live, breathe, and communicate everything through life. Your words, your actions. But aside from all of that, Bali is a very spiritual place.
Mm-hmm.
And are there any other spiritual practices that you incorporate into your life daily,
Mm-hmm.
aside from what you're already doing?
Aside from what I've already mentioned.
Yeah,
So I pray every day.
yeah.
When I wake up in the morning, when I realize I'm awake, I roll onto my back and I keep my eyes closed and I pray for at least 5 minutes or meditate. And what that is just giving thanks for my day, giving thanks for my body, giving thanks to the beautiful things all around me, and I'm bringing gratitude energy into my body for all the miracles that are in all directions. For my freedom to be able to stay in bed for 5 or 10 or 15 minutes. For the life I've created, for my eyes, for my brain, for my heart, for my legs, for the little room I'm in, for the bed I'm in. So just for 5 or 10 minutes every morning before I open my eyes, I give thanks. That's such an essential thing.
Yeah,
I also
gratefulness is massive.
It's a healthy vibration for the body. We take things for granted a little bit too much, humans, naturally, and that's all right. It's normal. I do, but in that moment, I'm not. And I also ask God for any help, support, or guidance I need with any problem I'm going through. So I give thanks and ask for I receive support and guidance and protection. So that's one thing that I love doing, and I do it first thing in the morning and last thing at night before I go to sleep. So when I get into bed, I do that to reverse it, to fall asleep too. So I'll keep doing it until I'm tired and falling asleep. Sometimes that's 5 minutes, usually it's 10 minutes max, because I fall asleep straight away at 11 o'clock. Sometimes, the 1% of the time I can't get to sleep for whatever reason, I'm just meditating to sleep, so it becomes a really good experience when I can't get to sleep, because I'm praying or meditating, and it becomes a really deep, beautiful meditation then. So I love doing that. That's been it's one of my important practices that I really enjoy doing and get a lot from, and I believe it's white magic, good magic. I also like to journal. I journal regularly, just whenever I feel like it, put some music on and just write. sometimes business orientated, sometimes personal stuff. Sometimes I just write and see what comes out. I just say, right, just start writing and see what happens. That's been a really important thing. I purposefully practice positive thinking. Like it's a practice. Like I always keep an eye on how I'm thinking and always choose the most optimistic timelines I can for myself and for all of the humans. That's why I'm trying to bring heaven and earth. So I'm like, that's the most optimistic thing I can think about trying to achieve while I'm here on the planet. So therefore, I'm just going to try and achieve that. So positive thinking is a practice. It's not easy to do sometimes, given the world we're living in and the stresses we all go through from society, but from relationships and deaths and off days and, you know, anything it could be getting polluted from, because we're living in a world where there's pollution all around. So your body might be feeling a little bit tired one day, but I always try to practice positive thinking. I think it's a good practice. Some people call it toxic positivity, but I've seen it just naturally navigates your life in that direction a bit more. It's like got a magnetic pull to it. So I love it. I love thinking positively. I also invest in karma. I say karma is a harnessable force. So whenever I've got the opportunity to help someone or be nice to someone or smile at someone or start a conversation with someone or just go out my way a little bit to be there for someone, I will choose to do it. I love doing that. Rise and Shine is based upon that, actually, you know. So with the alcohol parties, I used to make a lot more money, like 30 times much more money, like a lot more money. But I believe I'm making a bit of money off Rise and Shine, which I love, but it's got a high level karmic energy pull to it as well, which I feel like is going to be more beneficial than money sitting in my bank for my future timeline. So there's some of the practices.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
I love them all.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you now, my last questions to you.
Last question.
Is I'm going to say a word and you're going to give me your raw truth based on those words, okay? So these are like rapid questions.
So I've got to answer quickly.
Yeah, so
All right, then.
I'm gonna, you're gonna just whatever
Don't know
comes off your
All right,
mind
okay.
with these particular words, you're
All
just
right.
going to say it,
All right,
okay? So the first word is music.
Music is a medicine that can completely change someone's energetic state in an instant.
Plants.
Plants are God energy. They are God's gifts and they've got magic in them.
Strength.
Strength. We all have an inner strength that we can access through choice constantly every day and move our life in any direction using that strength.
Sobriety.
Will change your life more than anything else you can commit to.
Peace.
Is a harnessable force that we can choose in every day that has the power to create a heaven on earth.
Age.
Age. You can age well in a way that's beneficial for your body and get better, wiser, more powerful, more strong, more fast, more quick the older you get.
Discipline.
Discipline is something you have to practice, which is constantly a bit of a test, which if you apply discipline, you can achieve anything in your life.
And the last one, legacy.
I guess we all leave a legacy. We're all little miraculous beings that are going to leave some type of legacy on the planet by the choices we make every single day and the attention we have and the action we take. And yeah, we're all going to leave a legacy because we're all miracles. I don't believe any human leaves a more powerful one than another person, although some people would say, well, that's not true. I'd be like, we're all miraculous beings. We all live our unique timelines. We all have amazing experiences. We all go through tests. We all have triumphs. We all cry. We all make amazing achievements in our own way that we all leave a beautiful legacy.
Yeah, you know, so I read a quote recently which I thought was really beautiful, and it said that our purpose is not what we do. Our purpose is what others feel when we do the thing we do.
Magic, exactly.
And so, you know, what are we on earth for? If it's not to live to make other people better. Because
Definitely.
we're here to serve. And we've
Definitely.
been focused so much on inward instead of outward. And if we just change and reframe that, you know, a lot of people are going through all of these bouts of, I can't find my purpose, I don't know what I want to do in life. But really, think about the things that can make others happy. That alone is purpose. If you know that this is something that you want to do and it can change someone's life, eventually this could be like something that could be a ripple effect to whatever it is you want to end up being. And like you said, we're all living legacies every single day, but the actions that we do every day, you know, it changes people's life just by smiling.
Definitely.
You know, kindness,
Yeah.
you know, causing no harm. All these things matter.
I believe so. So someone like Mahatma Gandhi left a legacy on a global level, but I still think that somebody not as famous as such as Mahatma Gandhi leaves an equally powerful legacy that just smiled all the way throughout their life and didn't become famous on their journey. I don't think it matters how big your impact is, as long as you're having a positive impact, small or big.
Yeah.
You know, that leaves as powerful legacy as anything. You know, and what you just said there, people are focused inwards and they should focus outwards more. I agree with that, but I think people should focus inwards and outwards. Like, do the things that make you happy and excited that also have a positive impact on the world.
But what I mean by that is, like, they're so, like, selfish. Like, they don't care about anything else outside of themselves, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's when it becomes very toxic.
Yeah, definitely.
So hence why I feel like you should be more focused on giving.
Definitely.
And less about just receiving everything all the time.
Well, that's what the whole business world's created, you know, the
it's
profit, the drive for profit and get rich and buy another house and buy more land and buy another house and buy more land.
It just puts us in this constant flow of stress.
Well, constant flow of putting money and profit as the primary factor, which is putting you and what you've got and what you own and what you have and your bank balance above anything and everything else. You know, and that doesn't have to, you can still focus on that, but we've got to focus, can I make the world a better place while I do it?
Yeah.
It's not just about how I position myself in this world, because that's Darwinism, that's dog-eat-dog world, survival of the fittest, and that's a hierarchical structure, which is what the whole business world is based upon, which has got highly corrupted by that drive, which has gone so far into greed that's causing things like war's profitable.
Yeah.
You know, war's profitable.
Anthony, I really love this conversation. It's been so just magical speaking with you. You're such a great, kind human being. And I think that will, you know, kind of like shine through this podcast episode when people will listen to it and understand, you know, your mission, your vision, who you are as a person. But also, like, you radiate happiness and joy and kindness and beauty because of who you are. But I think, you know, we definitely need to be around more energy, vibrations like yours, because, you know, people like you don't come by too often. And, you know, I would be the first to say that the world is happy that you're around. I'm definitely happy that I met you and that you decided to you know, bless us and honor us with your presence today. Thank you for sharing all of your insights. It's been truly amazing, and I'm sure a lot of people will take away so much of this and implement it into their life today. And if they don't, they're totally missing out. And I can't wait to work and collaborate with you in so many different things. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Can I leave it on a little something?
Of course.
So I would like to remind anyone that's watching this, and you and myself, and the little technician there that's just walked in, I would like to remind everyone that they've got miraculous energy in their body. You know, they've got God energy. They are a miracle. In fact, they've got billions of miracles operating inside their body. And they're living on a planet that is a beautiful, big miracle with trillions of other miracles in all directions of all shapes and sizes, flying through an infinite cosmos full of miracles. You know, I like to remind people that all that exists in all directions is miracles. And with that within that potential of miracles, that anything is possible. You know, and they're living a miracle machine. So if they're not feeling good about their life for whatever reason, they can create change on any level they truly want to by using the power of faith and the power of belief that they are an incredible miracle and they can create a change and achieve whatever it is they want to. So I like to remind everyone, you're a miraculous being. Yes. You're powerful. You could create world peace on the most profound level, you yourself. You've just got to start living from a different frequency. If you're not feeling really healthy, really happy, at peace and at free, don't let the system push you to go, well, this is just the way the life is, this will do. You know, you can do anything. You know, we're living on the most incredible, beautiful planet with so many experiences, so many adventures to have, you know, to do what you want. Tune into your heart, listen to yourself, listen to your communication from your body, you know, and do whatever it is you feel like you truly want to do. You know, live the best life you possibly can. Like, create the best life for yourself, and other people you possibly can. So I always like that. I leave with that little reminder of that. You know, life's amazing. Life's absolutely incredible. Life's a miracle. And just to enjoy it and spread as much love, peace, and happiness as you can.
Love, peace, and happiness, Anthony.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.